And in case you haven't heard of it, it is a jiu-jitsu like skater magazine full of art that is put out by guys
That's
like
pretty dope, man.
Chris Howder and
Yeah.
friend of the show Chris Noonan and Heil Teague of Flow Grappling, and it's basically like it's got some really cool stuff like the cover done by Brett Parson, but also like the incredible Leprey. You know, they got some funny stuff into. And I was talking with him, and he said one of the bases for why like this type of publication works is that jiu-jitsu is one of those last counterculture sports. You know, it's not like it's never going to be like baseball, football, soccer, hockey, but it is exactly like surfing and skateboarding. You know, and like extreme sports, like those sort of out there things. And as someone that's been in the game a lot longer than me, I wanted to get your thoughts on like how jiu-jitsu is classified and where it stands in relation to the other sports.
I mean, I've always thought the same way about that. Like, my dream is always to see jiu-jitsu kind of come along the same way as, you know, skateboarding and the X Games have. You know, you start to see that type of feel. And when you talk about real jiu-jitsu guys, you talk about that type of mentality between them, because the difference between football and baseball and soccer and all those other things like that is that like that is such a mainstream thing that even people that aren't really into soccer or baseball or football can kind of enjoy watching it. Like when you're into jiu-jitsu, like it's not just watching jiu-jitsu, not just being a part of jiu-jitsu, like it's a lifestyle. It's become so encompassing in your entirety that it becomes a piece of who you are. It like changes your mind in that reality, the way you live, your philosophy on things. And it reminds me very much of that same thing, the surfers, the skateboarders, where it's like, you know, if you don't really understand, like you just don't understand. Like you can kind of dig it. You can maybe watch a few things, but you're not really going to get it because you don't really know what it's like to be a part of the whole encompassing thing, the lifestyle that is jiu-jitsu. And like, I love this. I love this so much. We had Chris Howder on. We talked about this a little bit. This is something that I've always dreamed about to see, is this type of thing here.
I think it was when I was talking with him, and we hope to have him on the show at some point. There was this worry in the back of my mind that this stuff is only possible because jiu-jitsu is what it is right now. And we all want it to be bigger. We want it to be more successful because we want more money. We want more people to be able to make a living off of it. But I'm always afraid that when that day comes, we're going to look at it and be a little bummed that it's changed so much, because I feel like it's going to have to lose a lot of what makes it special in order to welcome in more people. You know, like you can bullshit. Like if you're at a baseball game, you can bullshit and pretend to be a fan that gets what's going on and no one's really going to care.
Right.
You can't really do that with jiu-jitsu or skating or surfing. Like,
yeah, I think the thing that changes that mentality is the dilution of it you talk about. It's like you can't fake jiu-jitsu. There's nothing about jiu-jitsu that you can come in and pretend because you roll. And so we always talk about what separates jiu-jitsu from other things. I think it's the same thing kind of separates these fringe element sports the same way. Like you can't pretend that you're a skateboarder, because the proof is in the pudding. If you get on the board, you bust your ass, you fucking suck. You know what I mean? Like same thing with jiu-jitsu. Like when you're doing jiu-jitsu, like people that know jiu-jitsu will know very quickly if you're full of shit or not. The proof is in what you have to put in to get it. And that process is what changes you. That journey, what everybody likes to say, is what really changes you.
What I find interesting is that, you know, celebrity endorsements are treated like such a bigger deal than I think they actually are, especially when it comes to something that's hard like jiu-jitsu. Like a few people I've talked to when like guys like Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa and like
I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on. Ashton Kutcher.
No. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher. Like
right.
Demi
Lovato. Right.
Demi Lovato. Like there was this thing that was like, oh man, people like my parents actually specifically were like, hey, he's like Kelso's doing jiu-jitsu. Like it's going to be huge now. And I'm like, yeah, no. because it's
But
hard. It's
it's
hard. It's
when
not
you
like
see
it's
when
not
you
like
see
buying a
these. Yeah,
yeah.
God.
It's
When you
not
see
like
these,
yeah. Fuck.
when you see these like stars doing jiu-jitsu, it means that it's becoming trendy enough that people on the outside are getting into it, and I don't care. Like I love that Ashton Kushner is making it trendy, because you know what? Once he gets involved with it, it's going to suck him in the same way it sucks in everybody else. And now when people see Ashton Kushner do jiu-jitsu, they're going to hit me up to do private lessons. They're going to hit me up to want to come train, because they're like, oh, Ashton Kushner's doing this, and then the same thing happens. They get sucked in and they want to do it more.
Yeah, and I think that like products like these and like Public Domain's also launched a YouTube channel. Definitely go check that out. They're going to be posting a lot more vlogs, and some of them are going to be translated into English, I hope, because my French is not that good.
Oh, is it in French? Is that the thing?
A lot of it is in French, but like a lot of their sales are in America, just because jiu-jitsu is king here. Like jiu-jitsu is so massive here. It lifts up everybody that's doing jiu-jitsu stuff from around the world, which I think is a really cool thing. Just because, you know,
if it's counterculture,
it's cool that
if
America
it's counterculture, it's for me, man. I've always wanted to be. I've always had a fascination with that.
Yeah, but like I think, but the what Frederick actually, his solution was, it will never be like that. It will never get to that point where there is a dilution of it, like that's really noticeable. And his reasoning was, when you like dive on a like skateboarding is huge. Tony Hawk video games are huge. Like it ruled the 90s. It got bigger than jiu-jitsu's ever gotten ever. Not everyone skateboards now, though, because when push comes to shove and you're about to like start rolling and you're looking down the ramp to do a trick, you shit your pants a lot of the time. So the inherent difficulty, the leap of faith required, is what's always going to keep people honest about it.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah, and he's like, when you see surfers, it looks cool, but have you ever like gone into a wave? It's terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're on that board. I tried surfing once. It hit me in the jaw. Like it slipped out from under me, and I'm never going to surf again. Like I'm done with that. And so when he said that, it actually kind of chilled me out, because I'm like, yeah, no, it's tough. It's so tough. I love it. And sometimes it's like too tough for me. Like I'm just like, I don't want to go today. But yeah, no, that's like, and I think that's something I needed to hear, just because I'm always afraid of losing how special this is.
Yeah, I love this idea. I'm gonna start checking these guys out.
Oh, definitely. They put out 2 issues. We'll include the links down below, and they also have. Hang on one second. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Artitude. Also, the umbrella company is Artitude, which is like it's a bunch of art magazines for skating specifically, but Public Domain is more jiu-jitsu. So like that's the brand. And although I am not a skater, I'm really tempted to get this new deck they have put out called the Legacy deck.
Oh, look at that! That's pretty cool.
And I think a little. I'm not sure which of his sons that is.
One of them.
But like, look at that! Look at that art. That is so cool.
Pretty cool. We'll call it Hickson.
And then from that vantage point, Hickson learned the meaning of death.
Right, exactly.
And then he vowed to destroy all of his enemies.